So I trust this will help you sort out this dilemma that a lot of folk are finding when you do a proportionate size of a rectangle. For example, if I start off here by, let me just delete this, and I'm going to have this particular artboard. What I'm going to do is I'm going to draw a rectangle, and let me just click off here so that I can get there. Mine snaps to the corners. If it's not snapping, you make sure that your snapping is on there. But if I snap it there and I draw it and it snaps to the corners, if I go closer, you're going to see there's a thin red line. So I'm going to just make this a bit thicker so we can see it. What you're seeing now isn't the whole rectangle line that I've drawn. It's half of it, because by default the line is to the center, which means half is showing towards the inside of the box that I drew at the edge of this artboard, and the other half is showing off the artboard, which you're not seeing. So if I had to make this smaller, it would actually double in size. So let's start off with this process. The challenge that we have is that if we take this rectangle, and I'm going to make a copy of it, so I'm going to go Control C, Control V. So I'm making a copy of it over here. Okay, you can see there's another copy that comes up in my layers. If I now want to constrain this and pull it towards the middle to the center point, I go to press shortcut keys, which is Control, Shift, and Alt. But if I do that and then use my mouse, you're going to see the actual selection here disappears. So then my mouse won't be able to work. Let me show you Control, Shift, Alt. Actually, Control, Shift already takes it away here. Okay, so what I suggest we do is we go to one of the corners, the top right corner, click the mouse down, but you don't move it at all. You just keep the mouse clicked on there. So you select it, then you go Control, Shift, and Alt. And that is to be able to constrain the copy that we made towards the center of the document. Okay, so that's the route I usually go. And then I take it to where I want it to be, and I let go of my mouse and let go of the keys. As I've mentioned, you can see this is much thicker because the outside and inside of this line is actually visible. So just for smoothness sake, I'm going to just make the actual width 2 there, so it looks a bit kind of nicer. Okay, so we sit with this situation, and this is the dilemma we have. But in our minds, what were we thinking? We were thinking of having something like this, where the sides are all equal away, because after all, we took it from the outside and we constrained it and proportionately sized it to the middle, so everything should proportionately size. But we're finding out that it technically, in our minds, it's not proportionately sizing. However, in design features, this is necessary, because as you go smaller, it needs to keep width longer than the sides. So what we are thinking about in our heads when we say constrain the design is that we thinking that it's pulling from each of the sides equally. Okay, in the case of a square, that case does happen because all the sides are equal. So when we constrain it, maybe I should just show you, delete this. I'm going to go Control C, Control V, make a copy, and I'm doing the very same keys, but can you notice that the left and right sides and top and bottoms are equally spaced? They equal to each other. That's because of the shape of the square. In a rectangle, that does not happen. This is what takes place. And it's all the mathematical geometry thing. So if you want to go to a point that you want it equally from all sides, you've got to do a little bit of, I don't think it's a workaround. I think it's just a good method to do. So what we're going to do is delete this, the inside one, and if it's there, we select the outside one. But what is key here, the tool you need is the transform tool. So mine is in the panel. I'm going to just pull it out here. And if it's not there, you come here to window and you'll see transform. If it's not checked, then you check it, then it'll be visible. Here is the key. If you click the lock aspect ratio and you make any alterations, that actual rectangle is going to be distorted like the problem we have now. It's not going to sort your problem out. It just will replicate the situation that we have. It will keep the proportions. There's only one way in which we can keep the sizes on each thing correct, is by using the plus or the minus, by adding or subtracting pixels. Okay, and I'm going to show you how it's done. If we use division or multiplication in the same method that I'm going to show you, it's going to come back to the problem that we're trying to resolve. Okay, so let me show you. I've selected this. I'm going to go Control C, Control V. I've made an extra copy, but now I'm not going to go and put shortcut keys down and mouse down. That copy that we've made is already selected. I'm going to go to the transform and the width and the height. Okay, I'm going to go in there, click once, and you've got to click a second time. If you just start typing now, it's going to override this particular portion here, this dimension. And what we're going to do is we click a second time, it deselects that, and we want to put in a number that we want to take this copy that we've made and move the width, this number of pixels. Because there's one width setting, they're not saying a left and a right width. Because it's the width setting, it will move both of the width in that same number of pixels. Okay, so if I go and I say minus, and I'm going to say maybe 100, I don't have to say px next to it. It will know that that's the amount. So it's going to move the widths now 100 pixels inwards, because it's minus, it's negative, it's going towards the middle. If you go positive, it expands out off the artboard. So if I press enter, that's what happens. I go and do the same at the bottom, and I click again. I'll say minus 100, enter. And there we have it. Okay, this is a bit thick as I've explained. I'm going to just make it a bit thinner, just randomly thinner there, so it looks a bit nicer. So what we've done now is we've told the width to come in by 100, which is 100 pixels, and we told the height to come in by 100 pixels. So if we look now, we see that it's proportionate. That space, I shouldn't say proportionate, but that space and that space are equal. They're both 100 pixels. Okay, and let's show you. The reason I use this often is because I want to, on a design, I possibly don't use the outside line as, so this one, for example, I don't use, I usually would remove that, or I use the single one and I make it smaller, and then I do what I'm going to show you now. But I'm going to leave the outside one and just click here. I'm going to do the same, Control C, Control V. I've just made another copy, and now select it on here still. If it goes off, then you just come back and select. Okay, because there's two of these rectangles here, so it doesn't matter which one you select. So I'm going to come here now, and I'm going to click again, and I'm going to say minus, and I'm going to just say 20 for 20 pixels. And it's pulling 20 pixels from the side. Bottom one, I go click, minus 20. And there we go. If I click off here, you get a perfect little spacer, equally top and bottom. Okay, and then, like I said, I'm going to just remove that outside thing. So this would be like if you're creating a certificate, you create it. And of course, if the certificate is in portrait style, the same thing applies to it. So you're creating it in that way. If I had to, for example, take the inside one and maybe, let's see, I moved it maybe minus 100, and this outside one, not the outside one, but the inside other dimension. So I moved it here, and it's a bit too far. I want to move this inside one back out there. It's now going to be in the opposite direction. However, I can't just go and type a number here and leave the minus out. I have to put a plus in so that it knows what I want to do. So I'll have to go, in this case here, I put it 100. Maybe I'm going to go for 60. I'm going to go in there, and I'm going to say plus 60. Press enter. It goes, okay, maybe that is not, maybe I'm going to add another 10. Click there, and say plus 10. Which makes a total of 70. Okay, so then the bottom one, I go plus 70. So now I'm keeping them aligned with equal spaces. And maybe I've got to go in here maybe plus 15, okay, and so forth, okay, plus 15. Okay, and that's how we keep those in proportion. Some people might be saying, yeah, but I could take that one and I can go constrain it and size it. If you constrain it, you get back to that old problem. If you do this constraint and you do a second one constraint, you're going to find the spaces in between. Okay. The other thing is also division and multiplication. As I mentioned earlier, if you do that, division and multiplication and constraining will make the original problem come back again. The only thing that works here is addition and subtraction. Have a blessed day and a bit of easier design work. And shalom to everybody.